Picture this. It's your typical Tuesday morning. You've got back-to-back meetings, an inbox that fills up literally faster than you can empty it, the constant pinging of notifications, and just this relentless pressure to perform, produce, and lead. For a lot of executives and entrepreneurs, this frantic pace isn't the exception, it's the absolute standard. In fact, a staggering number of leaders report feeling completely depleted before the work week is even halfway over. We've somehow normalized running on fumes as a badge of honor. But what if the secret to doing your best work wasn't pushing harder, but actually stopping? Well, today, in this explainer, we are unpacking a really fascinating framework from Butler Wellness. We're going to explore how they are fundamentally rethinking leadership, hospitality, and equity by championing something completely revolutionary: the permission to pause. So I have to ask, when was the last time you truly paused? And I want you to really think about it. I don't mean catching 5 hours of exhausted sleep, and I definitely don't mean hiding in the bathroom for 2 minutes between Zoom calls just to get a sliver of quiet. Those do not count as a reset. I mean a genuine physical and mental exhalation. Look, slowing down is incredibly hard for high achievers, but it is an absolute necessity. Operating at a chronic deficit doesn't just hurt you, it impacts your team, your family, and your community. You simply cannot pour from an empty cup, yet so many leaders are out there trying to lead while running entirely on empty. For Butler Wellness, the solution starts with this really powerful foundational belief. Food that nourishes the body is the beginning, not the end. And what's super fascinating is their origin story. They actually started out simply as a catering company, focused on delivering incredibly nourishing, high-quality food to boardrooms and events. But very quickly, they noticed something profound about their clients. The executives and teams they were feeding were starving for so much more than just calories. They were deeply fatigued. They didn't just need a good meal, they needed a lifeline, a holistic intervention, really. It became super clear that food was just the entry point into a much deeper, far more urgent need for actual care and restoration. And that exact realization birthed their core philosophy, the permission to pause. Let's break down exactly what this means. It's the philosophy that you do your best work, your best parenting, and your best living only when you are given the actual space to unwind, reset, and find clarity. And the major emphasis here is on top-down care. Think about it. When leaders are given the right environment to heal their own inner wounds and truly recharge, they stop unconsciously passing all that stress and anxiety down to their teams. They actually show up exponentially better. So this isn't just about taking a break. It's a profound investment in the human being behind the job title. We all know what the culture of burnout looks like, right? It's that toxic cycle of exhausted leadership that just leads to clouded judgment, erratic decisions, and ultimately super high staff turnover. When the top is stressed, the whole foundation shakes. But contrast that with what happens when a company actually adopts the permission to pause philosophy. The corporate outcomes are completely transformed. Data from Butler Wellness's corporate clients shows less burnout, significantly lower turnover, and a much stronger sense of community culture. When people feel deeply taken care of and genuinely supported, their loyalty and output naturally rise. It shifts the whole environment from merely surviving to genuinely thriving. Okay, so we've all experienced that heavy, lifeless conference room food that puts everyone into a sluggish coma by 2 p.m. You know the feeling. You're sitting in a meeting, practically needing toothpicks to keep your eyes open. Well, Butler Wellness completely flips that script. It starts with a physical foundation designed to energize. We are talking about wellness-accented grazing tables featuring raw honeycomb, fermented vegetables, and smoked pepper hummus. They offer these incredibly vibrant small bites like sesame ginger tuna tartare, alongside their signature less guilty options. Think plant-based sliders and pulled beef empanadas. This isn't just catering, folks. This is high-quality nourishment strategically designed to energize and heal the body instead of weighing it down. And to pull that off, they hold to a super strict wellness food standard where absolutely no corners are cut. Every single item is prepared exclusively with olive, coconut, and avocado oils, and you won't find any refined sweeteners here either. Their commitment is totally unwavering. The food must be always nourishing and always delicious. For example, even their wonton crisps and plantain chips are baked in avocado oil. And the impact of this? It's huge. Removing refined sweeteners and processed oils isn't just some passing diet trend. It is a strategic move to prevent brain fog, stabilize your energy, and maintain executive focus throughout the entire day. The physical act of eating literally becomes a restorative act of wellness. You can see this incredible level of care beautifully showcased in their seasonal menus. Whether it's a spring vegetable egg scramble for an all-inclusive breakfast, or a lunch featuring lemon herb grilled chicken, or an artichoke and fava bean stuffed eggplant, you can really see how thoughtfully curated the whole experience is.
They deliberately cater to a variety of dietary needs, making sure there are exceptional vegan and gluten-free options. And why does this matter so much? Well, because you can't truly pause if you feel excluded, or if you're stressed about what you can safely eat. True hospitality means every single leader and team member must feel completely seen, considered, and nourished.
But as we mentioned, food is really just the entry point. Butler Wellness has evolved into this comprehensive hospitality ecosystem. They are building curated environments that actively force the noise out and invite genuine clarity in. We're talking everything from interactive wellness events featuring specific activation stations to full-service catering and even intimate private chef experiences. They also design these fully immersive, multi-day off-site retreats. So they aren't just dropping off some food and leaving, they are designing holistic experiences from the ground up that allow teams to actually disconnect from the chaos and reconnect with themselves and their core mission.
Now, here is where this philosophy transcends everyday corporate wellness. The macro mission of Butler Wellness is achieving wellness equity, specifically within minority communities. Chronic stress and systemic barriers disproportionately impact these communities, often compounding into deep-seated generational trauma. So healing those inner wounds isn't just a clever corporate leadership strategy for them. It is a vital community intervention. They are taking this powerful philosophy of the permission to pause and applying it to address these broader systemic issues, creating spaces for profound healing where it has historically been absent.
They hold a really powerful stance on this. Their motto is, wellness shouldn't be a luxury reserved for the few. We're working to change that. And historically, access to high-end, holistic care, organic foods, and dedicated restorative spaces has faced immense systemic barriers. It's kind of been gatekept as a luxury for a very specific, privileged demographic. But Butler Wellness is actively working to dismantle that exact barrier. They are completely committed to ensuring that the permission to pause, to heal, and to truly be well is accessible to the communities that need it the absolute most. And how do they operationalize this equity? By actively building generational wealth. And they do this very intentionally. First, they partner directly with other minority-owned wellness businesses. Second, they amplify their reach, bringing these incredible entrepreneurs and their services to a massive corporate audience. And third, through a developing franchise model, they are providing a structured pathway to industry growth. They aren't just trying to grow their own bottom line here. They are building robust frameworks to help other minority entrepreneurs enter, thrive, and build lasting wealth right within the wellness industry itself.
It really all comes down to this. One nourishing meal, one transformative experience, one meaningful connection at a time. It's amazing how what starts with swapping out refined sugars and using avocado oil ripples outward in ways you might never expect. It transforms an exhausted executive into a clear-headed leader. That leader then transforms a toxic workplace into a deeply supportive culture. And through their macro mission, that corporate success funds and fuels systemic equity and generational healing in minority communities. It is a massive cultural transformation, and it all stems from that initial fundamental act of care.
So we've seen the data, we've explored the menus, and we've unpacked the mission. But the application of all this, that starts with you. Will you finally give yourself, and by extension your community, the permission to pause? I really encourage you to look at your own leadership and your own lifestyle. If you're running on fumes, who is that truly serving? Find that space to reset, because as we've learned today, your wellness is the very foundation of your greatest impact. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I genuinely hope this sparks a well-deserved pause in your own life.